Hello, I will be doing my project 2 on the League of Nations. It was an international peace organization basically right after World War I to instill peace and basically calm down the turmoil from the World War. For part 1, I will be using Wikipedia. Wikipedia states that the League of Nations was started January 10th, 1920, and it lasted till 1946, so 1920 to 1946. And this is right when World War I ends and the 1920s starts. It was created to prevent war, calm down the turmoil, like I said, according to Wikipedia. And it says, it states that it was to settle international disputes as well, anything that could occur in the future or at that point in time. But not only that, it says it was the foundation to a modern governance as well. Kind of like the United Nations nowadays. I believe that's what it turned into now. As we know, the League of Nations did primarily focus on wars, but it also focused on other global issues such as drug trafficking, human trafficking, labor conditions, global health, and arms trade as well, just taking that from Wikipedia. Furthermore, at its peak, it had 58 members. Next, I will be summarizing a newspaper from El Paso, Texas, from January 16th, 1920. So it explains that America was left out of the first council meeting and not part of it, but I will list a few countries that were. The first few are France, Great Britain, Italy, Greece, Belgium, Spain, Japan, and Brazil, so mainly European countries. But it took place at 10:30 in the morning, first meeting, and they elected Leon Bourgeois, if I'm not mistaken, sorry if I mispronounced that, as the chairman. Furthermore, a bit deeper into the news article, Leon Bourgeois says he kind of expresses that he doesn't feel like he should be taking this position. Rather, Woodrow Wilson should be. He feels almost I don't know how to explain it, like he feels almost unwilling to take it, but also like he's very grateful, but he shouldn't be in this position. It should be someone with, I guess, a greater influence or someone who he respects highly, including Wilson. It's him that he really thought, he said, it should have fallen to President Wilson in the article. And I feel like he really expresses that deeply. Not only that, they mention it as a birth of a new nation. And I think because this was a vital piece of time, I should say. This is something that's never really happened. A big alliance almost between all these countries from all over the world. It really set the foundation of what leading countries would be like. And for example, the United Nations today, I really believe this almost foreshadowed and exemplified what today would be like. The next newspaper I will be mentioning is from November 14th, 1920, and it is by the New York Tribune. In the first part of the topic of how all the nations came together, it says all 41 nations came together on a Monday, and this happened on November 13th. The newspaper then goes on to say how they didn't realize, like Geneva did not know how to really handle this mass crowd almost. They said really experienced people would need to do it. Like, this is something that has never been done before, and not just in the context of like accommodations and all of that, etc. Sorry for the car noises outside, but this is something that has never been done before politically. Like, nothing of this magnitude has ever happened before. The newspaper then goes on to the topic of accepting Germany into the League. It says that many are not really on board with the idea yet or sold with it. They're still debating on if they really want to allow them in, because they're really on the fence about accepting them. Moving on, the last article I will be using is from an Australian magazine. I'm not too sure where it's from, but it's about the League of Nations, and it was composed in 1921. This one almost reiterates the one from the New York Tribune, but it has a little part that I really find interesting. It's saying how it's questioning will the treaty, will the League of Nations survive? And it really shows that, yes, they were working at these issues, etc., but they're working at them at such a slow pace. And sure, like, all of this, it looks good on paper. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they're saying, don't get me wrong. It looks good on paper. These aren't the exact words, just to say that. I will get a quote in a second, but they're saying, don't get me wrong. This looks amazing on paper. They're doing a lot, yes. And they're working. They have great goals. But at the speed they're going at, will this, League of Nations survive? And it questions that. The article then goes on to say that the world is requesting so much help from the League of Nations, but the League of Nations can simply not keep up, but they will try to do their best. It then goes on to talk about how the League itself has no power. If a state wants to say no to the decision the League has come to, they don't have to do so. And a quote from here that kind of exemplifies that is, or really it does say it, is the League itself has no power to enforce any of its decisions. It has to depend on the moral decision. A state belonging to the League which feels itself aggrieved and its entrustee jeopardized by a decision of the League, it has any dispute submitted to its judgment, can refuse to accept the decision and appeal the sword against the claims of its adversary. So that really just shows, like, they truly have no power to enforce anything. It's just they create ideas and come to a greater good. And hopefully the state does accept the decision, but they don't have to. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you kind of saw the comparison between Wikipedia and the sources I found from back then. But I think that there are similarities. Wikipedia is a great simplified overview. It's not trustworthy. Don't think I'm saying that it's trustworthy, but it's a good foundation for the information that you would like to receive. But thank you very much and have a nice day. And my works cited will be in the next section.